And you're first, even though Andrew beat you into the thing. Andrew, do you have something to show us in your? I got to get my video off so that you can't see me. What? Yeah. Okay, so you'll be second. Derek, you got something to show us what's going on? Okay, you'll be third. So tell us how much. I got 56%. You know what? You can go ahead and open your microphone. Oh no, but then we won't be able to hear both of us. So no, never mind. Don't do that. Someday I'm going to solve this problem. But in the meantime, I'm going to solve it this way. Coming in, sitting next to you. Or near you. So go ahead. Whoa, cool.
So this is kind of frustrating because it wouldn't let me save. I don't know.
Oh, you've not been able to save?
Yeah, it wouldn't let me save. I don't know. It lets me now, but it would show like the save to wiki, but it would never say it's saved.
It would never save it.
So then I would redo it, and it made me do it like 3 times.
And then you gave up.
I just left this page open, closed my laptop, and today it works. So.
Do you have weird internet?
I think so. I think that's what it is.
It was the Tiddly spot wasn't okay. So yeah. So what you can do? So here, just do a file save as.
Okay, I did this. Where just file save as. Okay, I exported it because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and hit save. So now you have a copy of it.
Okay.
Okay, and then do file save as again. And don't do web page complete. Do web page HTML only, and then save and replace. So now you have a copy of it. So at least you can use it. Doesn't mean you can edit it, but at least you can use it.
Okay.
It's like you won't lose it. Okay, so tell us about your resume.
So I really wanted to
Can you make that full screen, or is it full screen on yours?
Is that what you meant?
Yeah, I don't know what I meant. You're not looking. Okay. Yeah.
So I wanted to add my logo in, but trying to manipulate it, I wanted to keep saving and then like see how it looked.
Yeah, that's pretty normal.
So I changed my fonts, and
so tell us about how this resume works.
So there's just my about me under my name. So you can go to audience, and it'll bring you to audience. So basically what that means to me and why is it skill set. So you can do that for all of those. So work experience, same thing. You can go to that. It'll show you what I did for it and all of that. Under things I'm familiar with, see how it's bigger? I use the span C class.
So can you show us that?
Yes.
And what's that preview tab?
That's where so if you go to my home page,
yep,
that you can see. That's my home page.
Okay.
So I wanted it to originally open up like this.
That's a good thing. And how are you getting the, show us the CSS? Where you're setting that up?
I gotta make sure I can edit it. I'll go back.
What are you looking for?
So I can edit it to show you. So I'm not showing up because I got rid of them. I don't remember how I got rid of them.
Oh, your editor. Click on display. That's what you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
Where is it?
You want the titles. Yes, that's what you needed. Okay.
Where is it? So I just transcluded all my stuff into here.
Okay, and then where's the CSS set? So let's look at the. So is it in the?
My style sheet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I changed that. I changed a few of these, and then I had small, little. I tried to make the blue one, but I didn't like how it. You
Okay.
couldn't really read it.
And then how do you call a style? So these are like anybody else using CSS at all? So yeah, and then how do you call a style?
Using the
span. Can you show us that?
Yes. So if I go to
There it is.
right here.
Okay. So that shouldn't work because you don't close you should have to close that span. You don't? So, but yeah, then after you should have a slash span, open slash span. But it looks like if you just shift the span. Is anybody else using CSS? Derek, do you have to close those?
I think you're supposed to.
I think you have to close your spans, but you don't close your span.
I mean, it worked, so I
It's
didn't
because
think
she's calling another one.
Because you
that
call the
changes,
next one.
Oh,
and it doesn't
okay.
need it after that.
That's why I wasn't sure why it kept going. I guess.
Yeah. So like
If you
after.
close it after the text, then it stops.
Okay.
So close it after your break.
So.
No. You don't want to. Yeah. Right after the BR. After that.
Okay.
Yeah. And now. No. Angle bracket. Open. No. Open the angle bracket. Slash span. And close it.
Okay.
See, what was happening is that unless you want to, I think you can pile on CSS classes, right? I think they feed off of each other somehow. So if that's what you wanted, then that's okay. But do you close it at the bottom? Go all the way down to the bottom.
No, I didn't close it.
Yeah, I think I think you're going to want to close them in general. So
Okay.
yeah, but now it's not doing what you want. So now you can get rid of my close span. See how that's like? So I don't.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, that's very cool. So where you have stuff down there, see that spaces in front of information design? Did you want those indented?
I did.
Yeah, so that's another CSS. So you got to change the class so that it indents because all the spacing has to happen. Everything has to happen in CSS because you notice how it's all flush left. Spaces don't really matter in the HTML world. They're just ignored.
Okay.
Sort of. I mean, between words they're there, but other than that, they're sort of ignored. So yeah, you want to fix that.
Okay.
Very cool. Great, thanks. And then what you said something wasn't working with the background color?
So for the blue one that I had,
Yeah.
it just didn't look right.
Oh, okay.
I wanted there to be blue on there, but it just didn't look right.
Okay, well you can just mess with the colors. Yeah. Great. Excellent. Thank you. So this is using the TiddlyWiki resume edition. So what Meg found was this whole edition that kind of comes with a whole lot of stuff, and then she's manipulating the CSS underneath it. So, okay, so thanks. While I'm here, we'll just go to Derek because he's right next to me. Derek, what is that?
Sheboygan.
Sheboygan. Okay, Mr. Sheboygan.
Yep. So I've changed around probably after the last time since how everything pretty much looks. So now all the Pokemon chipblers look like this.
Mm-hmm.
So the title is technically centered, but it's centering along with tool commands over here.
How did you center the title?
I think I CSS the order frame. Yeah. T.tc Tiddler title text align center.
Okay, so there's an existing class, and then your class overwrites that?
Yep.
Okay, so what Derek's discovered is that the way that text is placed, the way that TiddlyWiki places text in a Tiddler is completely controlled by classes. And if you use the same class names and just change them, your CSS gets loaded after the default CSS, I believe.
Yeah.
And then, so he's now moving the title. Okay, which you thought was fixed. There's nothing fixed in TiddlyWiki. You can change everything, including the way that's pretty cool. So just for the hell of it, edit that. And so text align center, you can make it, or just make it right first. Let's see if that works. Instead of text align center, make it text align right. And does that work? Yeah. Okay, so like the way that, so you if you want to start playing with appearance, that's fine. So you can do everything through CSS. So that's, and how'd you discover those?
It was when I was changing around my template.
Yeah, see $$ style sheet. Click on that tag, and those are all the style sheets that are governing, not the $$ style sheet. It's in your CSS Tiddler, right at the top. Oh, the tag.
Yeah,
there it is. You got it. Yeah.
Template, not style sheet.
Pardon?
You mean template, not style sheet?
No, the style sheet. Yeah, but click on the one. Just linger over that button so we can see all the things that are tagged to it. Scroll up. And link. Yeah. So yeah, all those style sheets. Those are all the style sheets that are currently being used, and you can go in, instead of editing those, you can copy that code and put it in your own, so you don't change the default. That way you can get rid of yours and it will always go back to the default. If you start messing with the style sheets that are there, and you decide you don't like it, then you'll never remember what you changed.
Yeah.
So Eric's doing a lot of appearance stuff.
Yeah, I got
Cool.
mine though through going into the templates.
Okay.
And finding like each individual like tagged item on
Right.
the template, and then just saying, oh, that's TC Tiddler controls.
Yep.
So
Okay. Yeah, and that, so you can control the hover, you can control the center, you control the
these are all normal.
Yeah.
The center I use for my images.
Yep.
But
Okay.
anything that's TC Tiddler is TiddlyWiki.
Okay, so that's what TiddlyWiki comes with, is a TC Tiddler. Cool. Okay, you can change it back from.
Yeah, I'll change it back after.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I did these buttons on the side. So when you're loading into the side tab, it's not loading 807 at once. It only loads the 7 Tiddlers, and then you can drop down to say, show me 100 at a time or so.
Mm-hmm. And are you using Appear? Or are you using
I'm using
Reveal?
buttons for this one. I think. Yeah, I use Reveal.
Okay, so the $ Reveal, I use $ Appear, which needs a plugin. $ Reveal comes, and Reveal is a little different. It's just a different approach.
This one uses Appear.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
And what else do we have going on?
So I was playing around with what you were doing with my abilities, and how I have this drop down menu here.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is I was running into an issue where if I drop down adaptability on 1, since Basculin is the first Pokemon, it drops down Reckless because that's Basculin's first ability.
So let me see your code. I think that has to do with this is going to be, yeah. On appear, if you add your first appear space state equals quote $1 $1 $/1, and then on the next one $/2. Yeah. So has anyone else crossed state? Chris, some of your stuff deals with state, right? Have you played with that and manipulated that? Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody know what state does? So go back and change the state and take off the $// and just make it 1 and 2. Okay, and now close it. And now put your sidebar on recent so we can see it. Okay, and now hit one of those. So notice there's a tiddler called 1. Hit the other one. And now there's a tiddler called 2. So edit those tiddlers. And so what state does is creates these tiddlers. And to be honest, I don't quite get it. But it writes the current value of I was expecting to see something in that field, but there isn't. But it writes a tiddler. So the $// means you don't see those tiddlers. It hides them, but they're there. But it writes a tiddlers to keep track of what you're doing at the moment. And the way that Derek had his first set up, they were both using the same state tiddler. By default, it creates some default state tiddler. So they were using the same one, so when you did it in one, then the other one would open. By setting it manually, it makes sure that they get pushed to different tiddlers. And then if you put the $// in front of it, they don't show up in your recent list because you don't really want them there. They're just confusing. So if you ever find something like Derek showed where 2 things are opening at the same time that you wanted hidden, like you might see that in a resume, then you have to manually set the state. So state tells TiddlyWiki, there's a whole bunch of state variables in there. State tells TiddlyWiki where it is at the moment. That's its current state. Every time you touch something or click something, state changes because remember it's a quine. It takes its own input and generates takes itself as its input and generates an output. So it's constantly running, and it stays steady, doesn't move until you click, and then when you click, everything changes. So that's why his state wasn't working, and I think that will work. Yeah, and sometimes it gets really confusing because you don't really know what tiddler you're dealing with. You think you're dealing with one tiddler, but you're really dealing with another. And state is, yeah. And then I just set state to different things, and it seems to work. If you take this class again next year, then I'll actually know what state does because by then I'll have learned it. And if you took the class 2 years ago, I didn't even know what I was talking about at all. So it's all in advance. So thanks. Anything else that's cool that you got? I mean, there's lots of cool stuff. What's challenging right now?
I'm struggling to get the navigation door.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to have buttons that let me go from one Pokemon to the next, and first and last.
Within the tiddler? Oh, first, previous, next, last?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that everybody loves the first, previous, next, last. So it's pretty cool. So, all right. So what this does is, so tag my tag. It's not working at all. I can tell.
Yeah, I tried changing around and I couldn't get it, so I just.
Yeah, what you're missing is you're missing the macro.
I am okay.
Let me see. This is let me look at it again. So this, yeah, you pulled that from my code somewhere, but that was code that's inside of a macro. So if you set if you changed tag my tag to tag Pokemon, And so not in. Why don't you
Go ahead.
clone this? Clone this. Yeah. And so one of the things that's a little tricky in copying code is that you have to figure out if you're using a macro or you're actually writing raw code. So in this case, I think you really want to use a macro, and you want to get, I think it's called FPNL by tag. So look in DesignWrite Studio and search for FPNL, first, previous, next, last, by single tag macro sorted. So look at that, and that defines the macro and brings in my tiddler, my tag, and my sort field. And then the macro call down at the bottom sends my tiddler equals this, my tag equals this, my sort field equals this. So that's what you need. So drag that macro in. I probably don't have the things, I don't have that set. You've got it in the left, in the list, in the, yeah. Drag that in. I don't think that worked the way, oh, there it is, you got it, yeah. And then copy the macro call at the bottom. Yep. And put that in your template.
At the top.
Just get rid of all the rest of the code. Yeah. And then so that the name equals that, the tiddler equals current tiddler, my tag equals probably Pokemon, right? So put my tag equals Pokemon. And then you want to sort it by what?
The fact that it was NatDex.
Okay, but probably not sortable.
No.
Yeah, my field was, so just get NatDex, yeah.
It'd be end sort probably then.
Well, let's just see.
Okay.
Sort field, not sortable NatDex, that's the name of a field, so just NatDex, I think. Yeah, and save that, and now go to one of your, so you're getting something there now, right? Yeah. Is that first, previous, next, last?
Not in the order I would wish.
But you'll be able to work it. Yeah.
Out
So he was using a macro, but what he did is he copied the macro code, but it didn't know what those variables were. So yeah. So you have to, when you copy a macro, those all the macros that I try to write, if I'm doing my job, they should have a macro call at the bottom, and that's to test it. And then you copy that code instead of the macro code, and then you can use that. You have to bring the macro over. Look at the FPNL by single tag macro sorted, and notice it's got a tag that's $:/tag/macro. Macro, yeah. And that's what tells it that this is a macro and I can reuse this code anywhere I want. And then this is my test tag is actually, whatever. That's actually running the macro. So, good. Well, I'm glad we figured that out. Anything else going on that's tricky?
I think that's everything for now.
Good. All right. So thanks. We're just moving around the room. Are you in the meeting?
Yep.
Yep. Is yours, you got something cool? James, I suppose you're hearing this well enough?
Yes.
Good. Okay. I'm just moving my microphone around. Now we're looking at Ben's.
Mine's still pretty underwhelming, like visually. Just 'cause I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
do that
fine.
Stuff
Yeah,
last.
yeah.
But I have most of my stuff done. I'm really just working on the randomizer.
Ah,
At this point,
randomizer.
because I have one, but it only produces one random at a time.
Let's see what you got.
So essentially, I'm still working on it, but I have all the list of everything.
So how you doing the random?
So it's a button.
Field equals result field.
Steve,
It's
I can't hear anything.
Why not? Can you hear me?
Barely.
Huh. Can't help you. Don't know.
But I have the original.
So we got to work on a random, right? You got to be able to
Yeah, I
pick
just
out
need
some
to-
random stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like the last thing I need to work on. But the rest of it works the way I want it to.
So you want to be able to pick out 7 random cards.
Out of these 15, yeah.
Okay. So you're working, yeah.
That's like the one thing I need left.
Okay. That'll take a little bit more time. I'll look at that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So like
Cool.
when you want to go to the actual, it shows you how many cards you need for each.
Mhm.
And then you can go to specific ones like the creatures. There's the specific creatures.
Excellent. Yeah.
It's just
So the
that kind of
random,
stuff.
oh, Marcus isn't here, but the random, I think a couple of you might have games that want to rely on random, right? There's a lot of randomness in games.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to stop sharing your screen for a second. Justin, come on. Are you hearing me again?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what was going on. Justin built this, which is in the group. This is sort of a fake randomizer, we think. We don't quite understand how he's doing it. James is beginning to get it. I'm still skeptical. Is this Marcus? Yeah. Marcus has a system where you can get 5 random cards. Have you seen
okay.
his?
I haven't seen his yet.
So this is using a it's pretty
Oh,
straight.
it's a lot simpler than mine.
Yeah, right? It's like 4 lines of code.
Where mine's like 12.
Yeah, it's so what it does is it needs a box here.
Mhm.
I want 3 cards and you get 3 cards. I want 7, you get 7.
Okay.
And then I think in Design Right I built a randomizer too, didn't I? Yeah, show some random illustrations. It's the same. I think it's exactly the same, actually. Yep. It's precisely the same. So it's like show 4 illustrations, show 2. So I can't figure out how to get it like to be no box, so where it just comes automatically, but we'll work on that. So I think that's pretty close to what you need.
Yeah, that's definitely.
You just want it to be 7.
Yeah, I just need it to be 7, but it looks like his can do 7.
Yeah,
so.
and there's a plugin called Random, probably.
Okay.
Tobier Random.
Okay.
And and Steve, this might be for the game that you're going to build, right? If you're looking for a randomizer, I just need like 3 random things.
I know how to randomize things.
Hmm?
I know how to randomize.
How are you doing? Were you doing randomizing?
Basically the same way. I looked into it. I didn't implement it because
Okay.
I was distracted by other projects.
Okay. Yeah. And Eric, sometimes your stories might want a random element.
Yeah.
Like, pick a random path. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So good. All right. Brandon, did you make any progress in your worlds?
I'm still stuck.
Okay. So where are you stuck? So sometimes it's helpful to see where other people are stuck because you'd be surprised that they're stuck in the same places that you are.
I don't think anyone's going to be stuck where I am. Hold up, I need to get into Zoom.
Oh, they all are. Are you in that meeting?
No, I'm getting it.
Okay. If it lets you. I'll come back. Andrew, you want to share your screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll come back. I'll carry my little microphone around. I have to stop sharing mine. There you go. So you can close your sidebar. Perfect. Yeah, there we go. Thanks. So what is this thing?
So this is Madlib.
Uh-huh.
I did two different ways on how you could technically create it. I guess I
Yep.
don't know, like choose your own words. The first way is easy. You just click on each one. It'll take you to another tiddler. You just choose the word
Yeah.
and you just do that for each one.
How's the
And-
feedback? So you just chose noun one, but you have to click when you're done. Okay. So you go through them all and
yeah.
okay.
You go through them all, and then when you're done, you click this one, and that's gonna just show up. It's not gonna.
Got it.
So you then would just read this afterwards.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Fine. How I did that is just by using the choose.
Yep.
So you just get that from there. And then this one, it's easier, but kind of annoying to read, I guess you could say. You can just choose it straight from here and then read it after you've chosen all the words. And for some reason, the make the story randomly button doesn't work. It just does that. I can't figure out why. But that's kind of it.
I think you need a $ param
Where
in the action send message. I think it's $ param. No, your first param. You've got $ message. I
Yeah.
think it's $ param.
right here.
No.
Oh, here.
Yeah, I think that takes a $. Guess not. No, it would have. Yeah. So we can figure that out. So look at that code again. So what Andrew's doing here is, anybody else using action send messages? So he's beginning, and some other people are beginning to use buttons. A bunch of people last night that were using buttons. So notice he's got a $ button and a $ or /$ button at the end of his code. So what that creates a button inside. And then when you click on it, whatever code you've got in there will get executed. So it's a way to create something executed. I think Brandon's got some buttons going on in his, maybe. Okay. And then they don't always work as you'd like them to. Probably take that $ out. But
Because
that's not a valid. That's not going to work.
here, I'll show you.
I think you want action set field instead of send message. Are you creating a new tiddler?
A new tiddler.
A TM new tiddler.
Yeah, it should create a.
It should create a new tiddler. Your
When you-
fields have to be lowercase. Make the story. Yeah, you have to look up. If you look up, go to tiddlywiki.com and look up action send message. You'll see it. And so, do you guys use tiddlywiki.com as a general manual, like all the time? Okay. And search for action send message.
The widget.
Yeah. $ param. I'm right. So once a $ message equals TM new tiddler, title, not param, title equals instead of param. So you want the third one.
This one.
Nope, down. In the example, you're on the third one. Title,
Oh.
that's what you want. Yes, go back to yours and change param to title. There you go. Does that work? No. Almost. Okay, but it's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what Andrew did that's pretty cool is he wrote those things, but he's got these pull downs with lots of choices that structure a message. So it's creating a field of interaction, which is interesting. So cool.
So you want to see how I did that?
Yeah. So it's not working for it, but it'll get there.
Well, the button's not working. So each thing has their own. So it has a whole list, which can be very long, and then I just copy and paste that list
Into the list field.
yeah.
Yep.
Use that for the pull-downs.
Yeah.
And each one has their own. There's ones for
So he did, and Steve, I think when you did your Mad Lib, you were doing something different. You had edit text fields that people wrote their own words into. Yeah. So he has predefined lists. So his is, at least the nouns will be nouns, but you can only choose amongst the ones that he gives you.
I mean, I gave you a lot, so.
Yeah, but still, right? Yeah, so it's less fun. Andrew's is like highly structured. You follow my way. Steve's, you can put whatever words you want in there, right?
Yeah, they can all be
They can all be green or they can all be,
the green went to the green.
yeah. They're, I don't know which one is really a true Mad Lib, but the notion is that Andrew's is like a form filler. Right? I mean, it's just a form filler. You can generate an output to a form. So that's pretty cool. Thank you. Yeah. Brandon, did you get into that meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me walk over to yours. And Steve, did you have something that you wanted to show, or Chris? Do you have any additions or not quite yet? Ryan or Marguerite, do you guys have something that you added or since we saw it last time, or you want to wait till Thursday? Okay. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted, okay, so we'll take Brandon's and then I'll sort of leave the rest of it. Oh, I got a couple things I wanted to show you guys that we did, that I've done, so. Okay. Oh, you good. You found
Yeah.
my up left.
So I
Yeah.
found this, but the problem is trying to make these buttons into SVGs because I can't get the widgets to work inside of it.
Okay.
So I have one up here that's combining like what you did here with wherever it is. I have a lot of tabs open. It's with these because these are links. So these would be able to go to a different tiddler, but these have the widgets that like change values.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and I can't get both.
Yeah, so we're just, so that first map is really simplistic part on mine. I said, oh, this is easy. You can do it this way, but it doesn't really do what he wants. So he has to keep going. But the logic there is that you're basically able to navigate and you're changing something. So you click on B1.
Changes both of them because I have two open. I copied it to mess with it.
Okay, yeah. So it's just, I mean, he's trying to build a navigational thing so you're going to navigate amongst tiddlers. So it's coming. Okay, thanks. So let me show you a couple things that some other students who aren't here have done, and then I'll let you go back to your own stuff, which is probably what you really want to be doing anyway. So we looked at this before. This is worth opening up his code and seeing if you can figure out what he's done. I can't quite figure it out. It's pretty cool. He's got a separate tiddler for each number. I don't know how he gets it to stop there exactly. And but I like it. I'm just trying to figure out what he's doing. Because there's not much code. So he seems to be doing a lot with no code at all. I don't think it's JavaScript. I just don't know where it is. So if anybody wanted to play in this and dig deeply into it and see if you can reverse engineer what he did, it would be helpful for a bunch of your projects. So I haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time on it. This is the Hawkins project. This is my version of the Hawkins project. I can't remember which student it is, to be honest. So I just call it the Hawkins project. They didn't have this stuff across the top, but that's a pretty cool navigational structure. And so this person, so just, you know, they've got this stuff pinned to the top. They discovered a set of these plugins, Tanjourner top menu plugin, little like, it takes a little bit of effort to really get them going. There's a lot of configurations going. I had discovered them for a project I did last summer that looks like this. And, you know, so if it kind of takes away a lot of the TiddlyWiki aspects to it. So I'll post this. I think this is in the group, but, you know, it just allows you to navigate almost, it's basically a website. It doesn't feel like you're in TiddlyWiki in as much. And these are pretty cool. I don't know if I had shown you this before. This runs a basically like a cross tabulation on 2 tabs or 2 tags. And so these are all the things that are tagged web action and things that are tagged medium. And so those become the values. And then it says, oh, there's 12 tiddlers that are tagged photo and appropriating. And I can click on the 12 and I get a list of those 12 tiddlers. And so that's kind of like a way to navigate through a search mechanism. I don't know if any of your projects would benefit from that logic, but it's there in case some of you want to build something towards that. But I kind of liked it for his, or for whoever this is. I just don't remember who it is. Samaro. I think that's Orinthia. So I think Orinthia's been in some of the groups. Anybody seen the Green Eggs and Ham? It's in the group. It's very cool. I did some work on hers. I think this is her, McCall. I went and found the text of Green Eggs and Ham. I threw it into a spreadsheet so that each line became a row. And then I used a split command in the spreadsheet to split each word into its own column. What is this? Dismiss, go away. So it turns out there's not more than 10 words in any column. So I created a column, word 1, 01 through word 10. And once you have that, then you get to do stuff like, here's all the lines in order, where each line is its own tiddler, and there's other lines that match it. But then each word becomes its own tiddler, and you get to have a list of all the tiddlers that have that word. And so now what we've done is we've taken Green Eggs and Ham, it's 104 lines, and just blown it away and just presented it in a totally different order. So here's all the them lines. Now, why you would want to do this, I don't know. But we did it. I did it because I could. You know, but I just wanted to create a way that can I navigate by the word do. I do. I like them, Sam, I am. And so then treats this, and it's got its issues, but it's kind of an interesting way to move through like a body of text. And I like Green Eggs and Ham because it only has 50 words. 104 lines, 50 words, no more than 10 words a line, and it just creates an interesting sort of rich data set. You could do something similar with any poem. And it just abstracts a piece of text in a way that the author had no intentions of letting you do, or it's not how they wrote it, but it just gives us an opportunity to look at it a very different way. Linguists do this kind of stuff. There's a whole set of tools that allow you to navigate through text and see common words. So the Green Eggs and Ham thing is kind of cool. I think we looked at this last time. This is using the first, previous, next, last, displaying an image stored in another tiddler and bringing it up. And a bunch of you are doing something similar to this. we worked last night. He got this working. He got his own captions working appropriately. So this is a kind of a nice thing to play in. This is Marcus's project where we can do 1 or 4 random pictures. Tarot cards. So there's some work to be done there. And then this is another plugin that I've discovered recently called Formulas. You search for Tiddlywiki Formulas. Anybody who wants to do math will find this interesting. If you want to see, you can basically, if you haven't discovered yet, you can't really do math in Tiddlywiki natively. It's hard to get one value to be divided or multiplied by another value. You might have 2 values in fields and you want to do some math with those. So the Formulas plugin allows you to do math. Marguerite, this might be helpful for yours, for example. If you wanted, I think some of your features, some of your fields for your stars have some numbers in them. And if you wanted to move to the right, if you wanted to move further away or closer, then there might be some math involved. I'd have to think about that, but that might be helpful for some of yours. To look at the math. If you need math, that's how to do it. And I think that's all I had to share. So yeah, there, it takes us right up to 11. So I'm going to stop the recording and stop the